That's us. Hi. I'm starting to record, so.
All right. Let's do it.
All right, everyone. So my name is Emilio. I'm the owner of AM3 Technology and Cybersecurity. We're a managed IT services company with a focus on cybersecurity. So the way I like to lead with my clients is, yes, we do all the basic stuff. We do your computers, your support, your Wi-Fi, your offices. But we like to lead with our security foot first, right? Right now we're in the age of a lot of cybercrime and cyber threats. So that's our step forward. And I am the IT person in our group and the VP. So I'll go ahead and get started with my presentation.
Thank you.
No problem.
Do you want my finger?
What?
Yes. No, I got it.
By the way, Emilio and I have known each other since we were like 12.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
We have an HR professional here.
Yeah.
We are.
So I can talk about this for 45 minutes, for 2 hours. My usual education or presentation is about 45 minutes. After I've done an assessment on a client, they usually take about 2 hours. So I try to compact some of that into 15 minutes. So bear with me. Go ahead and hit right. You could just hit the arrow. Just right here, just right there. Okay. So things have changed, right? Maybe the most since COVID started, but we were already trending in that direction. The more we use technology for, the more that the opposing forces are going to use it for the malicious and the unethical things, right? So our first stat is, in 2021, 61% of user credentials is what was mainly used for hacks. Now we've shifted a little bit, but I'll give you an example of this. Right now I can go on the dark web. By the way, I did a search on most of your businesses on the dark web. They're all pretty, I found something for yours, but it's not passwords. It's more like names and,
What do you mean?
and
What
last
does that
names.
mean?
I'll get to it. So on the dark web, what you can find is if your credentials or any information has ever been exposed in any breach. So you know when you hear, oh, T-Mobile got hacked or MySpace got hacked, if they got any of your information, that'll first be sold and then it'll be posted just on a public kind of website that people can go and just grab some of that information. Amelia, why does that matter?
So there's a web for hackers?
Yeah, there's a
Like
dark
an
web.
eBay?
Can you buy stuff on it?
Can we buy the kidney?
Okay.
I don't want to do it, but I can.
We'll get to that later. So I'll give you guys an example, right? A lot of people use their work email for different things, right? Some people might use it for Facebook if there's a Facebook related item that has to do with their business. If they sign up for an Adobe product, they might use the work. If your employees or you have to travel and park, sometimes you'll do the parking app and you'll sign in with like your business, right? Because they're paying it or something like that. So when those items get hacked, that information is all on the web. So maybe that's not the password for your business, but can anybody here tell me with 100% certainty and raise your hand if you think that nobody is using the same password for different systems?
What do you mean?
That nobody
Oh
is.
no, mine. I'm an open book.
Correct. So most humans use the same passwords or a combination of one or two, three
Right.
passwords for the same thing. So what are the chances that if somebody hacked the parking app and they have that password, what are the chances that's the same password for the business? And now they have complete access to everything here. So that's why one of those things is so important. So the second one is 94% of attacks are now delivered through email. So if you don't have a good security awareness training system so that your users know what to look for, because users and employees are the weakest link in any company, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So if you don't have them properly trained, or if you don't have like a third-party anti-spam phishing software that can kind of see the trends of the emails and be like, all right, there's no way that Magda at Sun Life is emailing Magda at Sun Life from outside the business to inside the business. That doesn't make sense. Let me red flag it or something like that. Or why is at Sun Life title email coming into the business from another location instead of, from the same system? Things like that.
Because you always use my.
We're in your office. I figured you're the guest of honor.
I'm assuming
Okay.
you're more prone to
I
getting
get
hacked.
about, I'd say, 3 a day.
I got one this morning.
So
A receipt for.
those are rookie numbers. On average, it takes about 120 days to discover a data breach. So what happens is somebody gains your credentials, they come into your system. They're not going to do anything to raise any alarms. Why? They want to sit in there. They want to look around. They want to see, okay, who's Magda doing business with and what's going to be the biggest contract or biggest payday for me. Okay, she's talking with Elisa, she's talking with Jocelyn, she's talking with Juan. Okay, Elisa has a deal that's going to be worth about 500K, and in this case, it's not that much, but for the sake of my story. So what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll buy sunlifetitle.com with 2 I's in life, right? So they'll buy that domain, and then they'll go and they'll create an email account, and now they'll create Magda at Sun Life with 2 I's, and now they're still going to be in her inbox waiting, and then when it's time to do transaction and payments, they're going to create a rule in her inbox that says any emails from Melissa to me get forwarded to my Gmail or my I Sun Life to the hacker, right? So they come into Magda, but they get forwarded to the hacker and then delete it from Magda's inbox. So she never sees the email.
That's crazy.
And now that person is communicating directly to this. And when Elisa writes this way, it goes that way, he goes that way. And then he just starts doing this. Right before the transaction, he's gonna say, I'm having an issue with Chase or Bank of America, my fees and my overdrafts. I'm having issues, so I'm gonna do a new bank. On your next payment, wire here. And then that's how it ends up that you
That's
wire
why you
that.
have to verify routing now.
Correct, that's one of the issues. So that's one of the big issues. 58% of attacks are small businesses. Everybody thinks that it's not gonna happen to them. Look, it happens to the biggest companies in the world. It happens to the Facebooks, the T-Mobiles, and they have a blank check for cybersecurity. All of us here probably have a budget or we don't have any cybersecurity. So again, I'm never gonna say I can 100% protect you. What I can say is that we'll help mitigate the threats so that if something does happen, we limit the blast radius, we limit your company's exposure and the information getting out. 60% of small businesses go under within 6 months. So the example I gave you of Magda and Alyssa, that happened to one of my clients. They were working with Ultra Music Festival. This was before I was doing cybersecurity, we were just doing basic IT. We told them, hey, would you guys want to do multi-factor authentication? When they send a code to your phone and you log in. At that point, it wasn't free yet. Microsoft was charging $2 per user. They had 25 users. So it would have been $50 and then $150 setup fee. So $50 a month on top of their IT fee. They said, no, we don't need that. We're okay. So again, somebody got into their systems. They were just waiting. They saw that they had a contract with Ultra. They finished all the work. They billed Ultra $80,000 and the hacker got in between right there. The hacker gets in between. 2 weeks later, my client calls Ultra. Hey, what's up with the payment? Ultra says, well, we paid you. Here's your receipt. And then once we go in there, we start doing the investigation. I start finding, like I said, the rules with the forward, the rules to delete things so that the person being scammed is oblivious to what's even happening. So they didn't go out of business in 6 months, but within 12 months, they had to sell the business to somebody else. So they were bought out just because they couldn't, I guess they couldn't handle the
So that
80K
money was
loss.
never recovered.
No, a lot of what happens, and I'll get to that on my next slide, is a lot of this is paid through crypto or other forces. Well, in this case, no, this was not crypto, this is not ransomware. In this case, they opened another account that seemed like the same name at Chase, but by the time you notice, 2 weeks later, that money is gone, and the account was open with a fake ID, so, they went in, they took their money out. Okay, you come and you see it's a fake account, but when you try to trace the documents, it doesn't hit to anybody because they're in La La Land. And the last one is 26% organizations, after they suffer a breach, they do nothing about it. Once you're hit, you're on this hit list forever.
What do you mean?
If somebody comes after you and they're successful, they're gonna keep trying and trying because they're gonna think that you're gonna say lightning doesn't strike twice. Cyber crimes strike way more than lightning. If lightning strikes as much as cybercrime, I would never go outside. It's pretty bad. I believe every 10 seconds somebody gets ransomware. Every 5 minutes a company reports it. So imagine how many people are not reporting it.
One of the tricks when I was in undergrad for the CPA exam, there's a section that talks about like the IT part, and then we said like one of the clues that you want to look is typos.
Yeah.
If there's a typo that you know it shouldn't be there, that's always a red flag.
That's
Because
correct.
Every time I set up an LLC for one of my clients, literally, like within a day or two, they're getting fraudulent letters from
Right.
Ocala and random states saying, hey, by the way, you have a requirement to pay for your corporate minutes. There's no requirement for that in the state. And
Now,
that happens nonstop.
so when did you take that test?
Oh gosh.
Okay, so hold this, so hold that
I can
down.
only imagine how much has changed.
And now think about AI. So all they have to do now is put their email to AI and tell it, correct it and make it sound You know how usually you can tell because
American.
make it sound like an American write it, and that's it. And then there goes our tell, boom, and now we're off it. So anything we think of, technology is gonna one up it. So we always got to try to, keep up with the Joneses. In this case, the hackers are the Joneses.
I've actually not answered real emails.
Because you're
I've
scared.
been like,
Yeah.
oh no, signing into that portal, delete.
Yeah.
And it's actually a portal for a closing. I'm like, sorry, it's just
You
spam.
never know.
So that leads us to the latest security challenge we have now, right? So cybercrime right now is bigger than the drug trade. These stats say that they're about to hit 10 trillion now in 2025, but I think it's supposed to be 20 trillion by 2026. So you guys all remember, well, maybe not all of us, but when the president got on and he declared the war on drugs, and now everything the nation did was going to be focused on drugs. So imagine what level we're going to get to if cybercrime is bigger than the drug trade. So I have a question for you guys, and just think about this scenario in your head. If you lost all the money in your business bank account, what would happen to your business right now? Right? Could you make
OnlyFans.
could you make could you make payroll? Then they hack your OnlyFans because you're gonna use the same password. Could you make payroll? What does that do to everything? Right? Then if a hacker got into your network and stole all of your data and sold it to the dark web, how much would that impact your business? Think about your reviews.
That's terrible.
Think about your reviews. Think about your referrals. I'm not giving you referrals. No, I'm kidding. Think about your referrals. Think about what that does to your clients. Think about the restitution to your clients. If their socials get out and that information gets out, you have to pay credit monitoring to them for a minimum of 3 to 5 years. So imagine $30 per person per year. How many records do you have in your system? 500, 5,000, 20,000? All of that type of money. So, and if you had to pay for your data, how much would you be willing to pay to get your data back? If somebody gave you a ransomware which locks all the files, how much would you pay that person to decrypt it so that you can continue to work? Think of what that number is. I haven't seen one under 50,000 for the record. That's low. I'm saying I haven't seen one under that. So a lot of people think my data is protected by my SaaS application in the cloud. That's my QuickBooks Online. That's, whatever it is that you log into on the internet that holds all your clients' data, everybody thinks that's protected. I want you guys to go into those and read your terms and services. The security is on you and the data backups are on you. The only thing they protect is if their stuff blows up, they're gonna back up everything to how it was. But if somebody obtains access to that through your computer, they have access through your computer, right? All we're doing is, back in the days, you used to have a server in your office, and that's where you would have QuickBooks or whatever application you have. All that's happened is that server lives in somebody else's house. That's the only difference. But everybody thinks that if my stuff is in the cloud, now it's protected and I don't have to worry anything about it. All it is an easier way to get to it. But if somebody gets onto your computer, gets your password, logs in, that's like having all the locks on the house and just unlocking all the doors. What's the point? They're just gonna walk right in. And the last one is that cybercrime is now commoditized business now. What is commoditized? I'll give you an example. Uber. How hard was it before to go drive people around and make money? You'd have to be a taxi. You gotta buy a taxi. You gotta go and lease a taxi. You gotta work under somebody else. Now what do? Now you download an app, you send a picture of your license, and now you're a taxi driver. We call it rideshare, right? Because of legal constrictions, but you're basically a taxi driver. So that's commoditized. How do you make something easier for the person that has no knowledge in that field? So I'll give you guys some example. These are ads on the dark web. This is somebody selling a ransomware kit for $39, and that's somebody selling a ransomware kit for $309.
What is a ransomware kit?
So this is something that they can send to you in different type of ways. They can send you an email and have you click on a link. They can send you a file. I've seen people put it on a USB and just leave it around since people pick up USBs and plug them in. Once you click on this or you give this access to your systems, this locks every file on your system.
Why would anybody, if people really fall for that?
Huh?
They fall for that? They do that?
Oh, they.
It's very convincing.
So some of these are disguised as
Yeah, PDF. It's like you're opening a PDF. You open a PDF and boom, you're infected.
How many you got 5 minutes?
Okay. This is my last slide, I think. You open a PDF and you open a PDF and you're infected. I'm finding ways to trick you. If my 100% job is to trick you, I'm gonna find a way to trick you. Your 100% job not to prevent me. You're doing your job. This is 1% of your day. Should I open this email? Should I not? Is it legit or is it not? And I'm thinking, what if she thinks that? Now, how do I get her here? And if she
Yeah.
thinks that, how do I get her here? And if she thinks that, how do I get her here? So my job is to, try to get to you. So again, this is for somebody that knows nothing about IT. Like you can go on there, buy this, and if you put this on Magda's desktop and she clicks on it, you can tell her, all right, now route money to this crypto wallet, something, and boom, you just made whatever you ransomed Magda for. So this is out there for people that have no knowledge of IT, no knowledge of hacking, no knowledge of anything. So if this is out there for the regular person, imagine the people with knowledge. What are they creating? What are they trying to do?
Yeah.
We had
So
a-
one, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So one thing that I stopped doing, because I saw the video, people are putting stickers on QR codes of their
Yeah.
of their hack. So, it's a legitimate business, like Magda here, she would have, hey, give us a Google review. I'll come into her office, I'll put my QR code on top of it. You can't tell the difference, you scan it, and you're downloading some sort of virus or ransomware.
So they're always thinking about how do I get,
Yeah.
how do I get one step ahead of you?
I have a question, Emilio. So these emails, let's say for example, like this receipt I got from Geek, it's whatever. How do, so they're just basically, it's a receipt, it's just a receipt, it's not even something we paid. Can I not, it's just opening that email, does that jeopardize me?
Not always. I'm not gonna say opening the email always does. Clicking the link, it depends what method they have. What we do sometimes is we have our clients' emails go into like a sandbox. Our sandbox opens the link and then sees if anything is happening besides the web page, and if not, then the email gets delivered. Of course, that happens within 5 seconds. It's never like you're never like, oh, I haven't got my email in 10 minutes. That doesn't happen. But things like that.
Cool.
Are you the one personally going through those emails?
No,
Software,
it's like an AI system
Oh.
that processes
If you
everything.
have like a sterile location where, so if it passes that location and it gets to my email,
Yeah, before.
then I can.
Yeah, so my clients, when they sign up with us, we reroute their emails to our system. So their emails hit my system first, kind of like as a firewall or gateway,
Okay.
and then they get to your mailbox after. Yeah.
Very cool.
And I
The other ones are
think.
black.
Oh, okay. That's it. So I guess my last question I'll leave you guys with is think about everything I said and ask yourself, how do you manage your risk at work? And that concludes my presentation.
So I have a question, Emilio, thank you. So let's say, for example, you obviously go to people and you don't have a standard thing. You go and you say, okay, this is what these people need, or this is the size, for this size, this is what I would recommend. You go and you recommend what people need, right? It's not just
So I have-
it's not like a whole list of what you do, all the same for every client.
So I have a standard that I like to stick with because I can back that up. I can say if you do this, I feel highly confident, right? I can't say 100% sure because we're always playing defense, right? There's something called a 0 day. A 0 day means somebody woke up, wrote a code, let it out, and they just came up with it right there. So how can I play defense on that when I have no idea that, that's coming out today? So a lot of that happens. Thanks for bringing that up because I wanted to mention something to you. You guys should look up the FTC safeguard rules because you guys all run non-banking financial institutions, it's what it's called. And now the safeguard rules has things in place that if you're not following those cyber crime things and having a WISP, written information security policy, if anything happens to you guys, they can't come for you and you'll be fined, I think, $4,500 per incident or per record or something like that. I have a webinar I can share with you guys that I did on it. But FTC safeguard rules, they went into effect last year, July or June 11th of last year. So to answer your question, I come into everybody and I do a cybersecurity risk assessment because everybody has things that I have to protect in different ways. But overall, I usually have a template of how I approach people. And yeah, it depends on how many people and things like that, but I usually like to do everything. We take a 3-step approach. Number one, we have to train all the users because I can put a million security solutions in place, but if your users just give away their credentials and their stuff, they're just gonna bypass everything that I put in place. Number two is we put the security program in place. Okay, so where do you keep your client data? Let's secure that in a way. Do we need to encrypt that? So if somebody does take it, they took it, but they can't do anything with it because that's also encrypted by you. Right, so that's one example. Okay, they took your data and you don't want to pay the ransomware, so give it back. So now let's recover from the backups. Boom. So worst case, we lost a couple hours from last night to this morning. So we recover. So those are the tools. That's step 2. And then step 3 is, like I said, I'm never gonna say we can 100% protect you. So in the case of an incident, how do we recover the fastest? A lot of people don't know that in an incident, you have to give up all your stuff to your insurance company and the attorneys and everybody. So all the laptops, the Wi-Fi, the router, everything, give it to them. So how do you work in that month and a half? How do you make money? Do you not make money? So we'd go to Best Buy or go wherever. I call one of my vendors, hey, can you get me something here overnight? We ship 5-10 laptops and we start recovering from all the backups. And yeah, we might lose a day or two, but we can.
Not a month or
Yeah.
two.
So business continuity and disaster recovery is also part of the plan. So within those 3 steps, I try to put everybody in that umbrella. Now we do have certain instances where something special is needed, right? If you're HIPAA compliant, if you need, if you're SOC 2 compliant, Sarbanes-Oxley, depends on where you fall. Depends on where you fall in the,
Right.
in the spectrum of compliance. Then we can cover those with some type of speciality.
Awesome.
So
Thank you,
yeah,
Emilio.
one-on-one.
Thank you
Great.
guys. Thank you.
Awesome.